Picture the ancient world. Azure seas, sun-drenched marble, the murmur of philosophers in bustling agora. This is Greece. But something is profoundly, chillingly different. Go back in time, past the legends, past the very bedrock of what you think you know, and erase a name. A single, powerful, terrifying name. Sparta. Vanished. What then? What happens when the iron spine of the Peloponnese simply isn't there? It's a thought experiment that reshapes everything. Without Sparta, the Messenian people are never brutally subjugated, never forced into the helot system that fueled the Spartan war machine. There is no constant threat of internal rebellion, no need for the rigid, militaristic society that shaped every single aspect of Spartan life. No agoge. No lycurgus. No iron currency. The very concept of citizen soldier, of martial discipline above all else, would be fundamentally different across the entire Greek world. The unique Spartan identity, forged in the crucible of their unique social structure, simply doesn't exist. Their famed laconic wit, their legendary courage at Thermopylae? Gone. But the void left behind, that's where the real story begins. First, consider the Persian Wars. Imagine Marathon. Athens stands, but without the promise, however delayed, of Spartan reinforcements, does the morale hold? Then comes Thermopylae. Without Leonidas and his 300, without the stand that bought precious time and inspired all of Greece, does the pass fall quicker? Does the Persian tide sweep further south? Even if the Greeks still win, perhaps due to the Athenian navy at Salamis, the narrative changes. The shared sacrifice, the image of Greek unity against a foreign foe, is forever altered. Athens, the architect of the naval victory, would emerge not just victorious, but utterly dominant. Unchallenged. Because without Sparta, who would be strong enough to stand against them? Athens, now unshackled by its traditional rival, would surge. Its democratic ideals, its vibrant artistic and philosophical movements, would flourish without the constant check of Spartan power. The Delian League, originally a defensive alliance, would morph even more rapidly into an Athenian empire. There would be no Peloponnesian League to counter its influence, no bitter, protracted struggle like the Peloponnesian War to drain its resources and ultimately, its spirit. Think of it, the Athenian Golden Age, prolonged, amplified. No Mytilenean debate. No Melian dialogue as we know it. Would this unchecked power lead to an even grander flourishing of culture and intellect? Or would hubris consume them without the humbling lessons of war and defeat? Perhaps Athens, without a peer, becomes an imperial tyrant, far more oppressive than history remembers. But the balance of power would shift in ways we can barely comprehend. Thebes, Corinth, Argos, they might rise to greater prominence, but always within the overwhelming shadow of an Athenian hegemony. The Greek world, instead of a dynamic, often warring tapestry of diverse city-states, might become a more centralized, Athenian-centric entity. Art, philosophy, democracy, these might indeed reign supreme, but what about the concept of strength? Of military innovation? Without the Spartan model, would Greek warfare evolve differently? Perhaps less emphasis on the heavy hoplite phalanx, more on naval power, siegecraft, or even mercenary armies. And then, a new shadow falls from the north. Philip of Macedon. Alexander the Great. Without a history of Peloponnesian War, without the cycles of Spartan and the Ban dominance followed by collapse, would Greece be better prepared? Or would its long peace under Athenian influence have made it soft, less capable of resisting the Macedonian juggernaut? Perhaps a stronger, more unified Athenian empire, having never been weakened by internal strife, could have presented a formidable challenge. Or perhaps Alexander, encountering a complacent, less battle-hardened Greece, would have swept through it with even greater ease, forging his empire faster, differently. The very nature of the Hellenistic age, born from the crucible of Greek conflict, would be utterly transformed. The implications for Western civilization are staggering. Our understanding of military discipline, of civic duty, of the very ideal of the soldier is rooted, in part, in the Spartan legacy. Our political theories, our ideas about the perfect state, were shaped by the Athenian-Spartan dichotomy. Without Sparta, would the Roman Republic have looked to a different model? Would the concept of a citizen army be less prominent? Would the very foundations of liberty and tyranny, often explored through the lens of Athens versus Sparta, be rewritten? Would we be a more peaceful, perhaps culturally richer society, as the initial thought suggests? Or simply a civilization built on a different, perhaps equally flawed, set of assumptions? The echoes of this missing warrior state would ripple through every generation, every civilization that followed. What do you think? How would the world be different without the warriors of Sparta? Let us know in the comments below, and if this journey through the impossible sparked your imagination, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into alternate history.